Welcome to head coach Jeremy Pruitt's Monday press conference. Coach will start us off with a quick opening statement. Please raise your hands for questions.
Just a little bit of recap on this past week game. You go back and look at it offensively. I said after the game we turned the ball over 3 times. If you count the 2 times on fourth down, turning the ball over on downs, that's 5 turnovers. We only get 1, so we're 5-1 in the turnover margin. We were 2 for 4 in the red area on scoring touchdowns. We've got to be able to score points in the red area. And if you flip it the other side, didn't make Georgia State kick field goals in the red area. So we lose the turnover battle, lose the red area battle. If you look at it and then you look at third down, another scenario there. So there was plenty of opportunities to get off the field on third down defensively, and we had a chance to convert some, and we didn't, starting with a 3rd and 1 there in the second quarter. So, everybody in the program's got to go back and look in the mirror and say, hey, what can I do to do better? It's what you do after every week. It's what we'll continue to do this week. We've got a really good opponent coming in here that traditionally is a very tough football team. There's lots of experience on their coaching staff. They kind of had a game last week where they turned the ball over. They're in a rivalry game. It's back and forth there. They had a few turnovers, but defensively, an odd team that has lots of experience, an older team, really played hard, ran the ball well. On their offensive side, to me it starts with their quarterback, a guy that kind of reminds me of Johnny Manziel. He can run around and extend plays, make all the throws. Turned the ball over a couple of times last week, unfortunately, but he's a guy that we got to find a way to get on the ground. Got a really good tight end. They're big up front. Got good skilled players, so we'll have a tremendous challenge. They had some new guys in the kicking game, but their new kickers kicked the ball really well in the last game. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Brent and Rob.
Coach, defensively, you said after the game you had alignment issues. It also looked like you guys might have had some communication issues, getting calls in. As you watch the film of that and you address that moving forward, what areas did you see that are problematic, and how do you address that?
Well, we're gonna continue to improve. We have lots of inexperience on that side of the ball. We in the last couple of weeks we've lost some key players at all 3 levels. We've had to move some guys around, and I said early on that we wanted to keep it simple. We're keeping it simple so we can execute, right? Because when you play a team for the first time and new coordinator, are they going to do what they did there last year? Are they going to do what he did? You're going to get lots of multiples, right? So you got to be able to, first of all, line up and give yourself a chance. We had a few alignment issues, but to me, not as much communication. I think a lot of it is just comes with experience, being able to understanding if I'm setting the front and they're not lined up correctly, I've got to move them somewhere and get them lined up. So it was kind of all 3 levels of the defense, but it's something that we can fix.
Rob.
Coach, on the offensive line, you come out of that game with a sense of 2 or 5 best star, or you anticipate playing that many guys again on Saturday?
Well, all the guys that played, at times played really well. I think in the first 55 plays of the game, we didn't give up a sack or a quarterback pressure. The last 20 plays of the game, we gave up 4 sacks. Not all that's on the offensive line. I said after the game that the way the game went, we didn't really kind of create momentum in the run game. Some of that was because of the scoreboard, but we've got to be able to do that. We've got to be able to run the football consistently to give us a chance to run some play action passes and push the ball down the field.
Wes, Jimmy, David.
A couple things. One, did some of those issues with maybe tackling in space and angles and some of that stuff on defense, was that some classic stuff that you normally see for a first game, or was that more troubling for the future? And also, any update on Daniel Petulli and Bryce Thompson?
always in the first game, there's usually more missed tackles, right? There's some guys on our team that a few guys had more than others, and it's pretty simple. You can go back and look, and when you have missed practice time and the opportunities to do it, shows up. So the guys that were injured for whatever reason during fall camp, they've got to kind of get their feet underneath themselves, or we got to play somebody else. It's that simple. And Daniel and Bryce really, Daniel he's working hard to get back this week, and I still can't comment about Bryce's situation.
Jimmy David Austin.
Jim, I know it's just one game, but do you have any concern about where the team's confidence might be and their ability to respond to adversity?
First of all, I believe in the guys in our locker room. I've said this all along. I really like this team. Just because I like them don't mean that we're where we need to be, but I like their work ethic. I like their want to. It's when you look at the offensive side, there's a lot more experience as opposed to the defensive side. So as you break it down, the offense is going to look and say, hey, we left a lot of plays out there, right? Defensively, you're talking about there's lots of guys. You start with Savion Williams, Darrell Middleton, Karate Garland. Those guys wasn't here in the spring. And so it's the first time they've kind of got a chance to get out there, and with the multiples, same thing with Henry Toto, Warren Burrell. So these guys are going to continue to get better, and some of those guys played as good as anybody on our team, so they're not going to do anything but get better. And we've got other guys that didn't play as much in the game, whether it's Quavarius Crouch or Roman Harrison, guys that will have an opportunity to kind of increase their load in the game. It takes a little bit of time for guys to understand exactly how to play the game. There's more to it than just getting lined up and running out there and tackling and hitting people, right? But we got to give those guys an opportunity, and they've got to prepare themselves so they are ready to play in the game plan.
You're okay with their confidence level?
Yeah, I think so, Jimmy. I mean, we've got to go out there and continue to work hard. And if you do things over and over and over, you build confidence. So we'll watch the film today, and everywhere I've ever coached, usually when the game's over with, it's about what you did or didn't do, and it'll be the same today, and it'll be the same next week and the following week. So it's things that we can control.
David in Austin, and then Patrick in the back.
Jack, how would you compare what you saw from the offensive and defensive lines on Saturday to how they performed in camp?
I felt like offensively, we've had guys that there's been lots of competition up there, entire camp, so I felt like Jameer Johnson, Darnell Wright, Brandon Kennedy, probably played the best out of the group up there. But a lot of the other guys had some good moments in the deal, and they're going to continue to improve and get better. The thing that we got to do is eliminate mistakes. That's what happens offensively. You can have 10 guys do it right, but if one guy does it wrong, sometimes it can create a negative play. The crazy thing about defense, you can have nobody do it right, but you got one guy that's an eraser, and he can cover for everybody else, but we're not that way. We have to, defensively, everybody has to do it right for us to have success.
Austin and Patrick and Jesse.
Coach Jordan, didn't see him out there yesterday, kind of what's his status? And then you talk about looking in the mirror. When you looked in the mirror, where did you feel like you could improve?
You talk about Jordan, he's a guy that has been sick the last week, and they ran some tests on him, and they'll continue to do that. But he should be out there at practice today. Just got to get his weight back up. And, same thing, just like I told the players, everybody in the room's got Tennessee on their chest, right? So what can we all do to improve, to be at our best? And it all starts with me. Obviously on the defensive side, we got to improve. We've got to be able to execute. We've got to be able to make adjustments in the game. And if you look at it, you know, there's a 3rd and 10, they convert a 3rd and 10. We got 10 guys that does it right. The one guy that don't, that's where the ball gets completed. There's another 3rd and 9. We got 10 guys that's doing it right. We got one guy that don't. The quarterback scrambles out there for a first down. You know, so there was a lot of that in the game. So we've got to eliminate those mistakes.
Jeremy, I'm going back and watching the film. Was there anything positive or anybody in particular positive on the defensive side that stood out to you? And how do you think Henry Toto did in his first game play?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of positives on both sides of the ball. Starting the kicking game, you know, I think our kickers kicked the ball really well. The operation, the holders, we covered well. Got a couple of returns going. You know, on the defensive side of the ball, there was several guys that played pretty good football. You know, and there's lots of guys that you know, they probably were right there in that 75-80%, but you know, it doesn't take but one mistake to extend a drive, and we did that, and you know, we didn't get any turnovers, got one, had an opportunity to get a couple of more, but really got against a quarterback like that, and a quarterback we'll play this week, and mostly in the SEC, because most quarterbacks are athletes. You have to control the quarterback with your rush, okay? You have to push the pocket. You have to make them throw from the pocket. You can't give them lanes to where they can scramble up and get easy throws, and we didn't do a good job of that in our pass rush lanes. And there was a couple of things there on 3rd down that we had a chance to get off the field and didn't, and we've got to get off the field on 3rd down, not give them extra opportunities.
Jesse and Steve and Blake.
Jeremy, Todd was heavily featured in both scoring drives in the first half. And I think put the ball on the ground, recovered the fumble in that last 2-minute drive. Did not get a touch in the second half. Was that a coach's decision because of some of the ball security issues? Or was that kind of a game plan?
Well, you got to be able to secure the football, right? So there's a couple of them on the ground. So we went with Eric because we felt like he had the hot hand.
Steve and Blake and Marshall.
You were assistant assistant. You were associated with teams that didn't lose very often. Now you're coaching a team that a lot of players aren't really accustomed to winning the last few years. What's the adversity kind of draw upon when you're facing adversity now, when the losses are a little more regular? How do you kind of teach these players to win when they haven't done it very often?
Well, when you look at the teams that win, lots of people talk about talent. There's probably something to that, right? You know, it helps to have lots of talent. I'm just talking in general here. But if you look at good football teams, they create the right habits. They make very little mistakes, okay? They play the right way. You know, when I say play the right way, they compete, they play smart, they play together. They don't beat themselves, you know. And then when things aren't going their way, you know, they find a way to kind of change the momentum of the game. That's what good football teams do. It's not like some kind of dust that you sprinkle out there. Since I've been here, there's been a few games we've played pretty good. The reason we played pretty good is because we focused on the details, we executed, we didn't beat ourselves. And maybe we continued to do that until the other team made mistakes. That's what you have to do. And that's what we got to focus on, and that's what we'll always focus on.
Blake and Marshall.
Jeremy, just to follow up on Eric Gray, what did you like about what you saw in him in his debut, and then maybe what areas would you like to see him continue to progress?
Well, he wanted in the game, you know, that he wants to play. You know, he did make some guys miss a little bit. He's got to probably put one foot in the ground and get north and south a little bit more. But, you know, I think he's a guy that what we saw Saturday is what we've been seeing this fall camp.
Marshall and Caleb.
Daryl Taylor told us after the game that while he didn't think the defense played hard enough, he also didn't think that they knew enough going into the season opener, citing that they probably didn't watch enough film study. When you hear that, is that a concern for you?
Well, as far as knowing enough, when you look at our game plan, it was pretty simple. I'm satisfied that our guys understood it, what we're doing. but the offense creates the multiples for the defense, right? So you can get a lot of stuff. That's one of the things early in the year. As a defensive coach, you're like, how far do you actually go back and look? What could they pull out? You know, they completed a pass on 3rd down that they ran against us when I coached at Georgia in 2014 in the red area, you know, against South Carolina. So, you know, when you pull things out, how far do you go back? Well, you can't cover it all, right? So there comes a point where you just have to play by principles and concepts, and especially early on, it's smart to keep it simple so the kids can do that and play fast, you know. So, but we'll continue to do that. You know, that's kind of what, to me, what I believe in, and until you kind of get a whole body of work where you can see what a team has kind of created their identity, you know, through 3 or 4 or 5 games in a season.
Caleb and Brent.
Coach, a couple of players talked about after the game about how they still have another opportunity this year. So the fans might be disappointed after what would be your message to those fans about how you're going to approach the rest of the season?
I missed the first part of your question.
Yeah, yes. A couple of players talked about how, you know, rebound from this, you still got 11 opportunities left, 11 games left this season. But as far as like true fans, you might be disappointed after what would be your message to them about how you're going to approach the rest of the season?
Well, I hope they are disappointed, because I know everybody in this building is disappointed. You know, for us, we got to go back and go to work. You know, we got to go back and practice the right way, work on creating the right habits. I mean, again, I'll say it again, we're young and inexperienced, and we've got to continue to grow. The most you improve is from the first week to the second week. You know, we got a great opportunity starting today to do that. And if we're made the right way, you know, and I'm talking about what's inside of us, about you know, about wanting to go back and having a little bit of pride about who you represent and who you play for. You go back and you dig a little deeper and try a little harder, and maybe watch a little more film here, or do a little extra in the weight room, or whatever it is. You know, you look in the mirror, figure out what we got to do, each and every one of us, to get better, and that's what we've got to do in this building.
Brent.
Coach, when you watch Jared, and you watch Avery, you watch Jared, what do you see out of him from week 1 to week 2 in terms of improvement? What would you like to see?
Well, we got to be able to manage the offense. You know, Jarrett put a lot of good plays together. You know, unfortunately, at that position, the ball goes through your hand every snap, right? So, you know, there's plays that he probably left out there on the field. Could have changed protections a couple of times and didn't, and he can do that. He's got that capability. And just be efficient, stay within the offense.
Last few, Grant, Mike Wilson, Vince.
When the defensive front's not lined up right, how much does that fall on the linebackers to help get them in the right spot, or to take a timeout in that situation? How do you kind of dive those things?
Well, you know, I don't know if you watched the game, but as far as the rewind of it, but you know, these guys gotten big splits by the guards, big splits by the tackles. Take the tight end and he plays like a guard, and he plays like a tackle, if that makes sense. It's all things that we covered, because they've done it in the past a little bit, right? But then when you start talking about, you know, they shift and move the tackle in and the guard out, it's really simple adjustments, okay? That as these guys get a little more, I guess, experience under their belt, it's not hard. Really falls on nobody but me. Don't fall on the linebackers, don't fall on the D-line, falls on me, okay, to prepare them and be ready to handle those situations.
Mike Wilson, Vince.
Jeremy, on the defensive line, after you got a chance to look back, was the performance better or worse than you thought, and what kind of are the first steps this week to your next situation?
Yeah, we had a couple of guys I thought played pretty well up there. You know, so it's the thing about defense, you know, unless you got a bunch of erasers who just kind of fly around out there and cover for everybody else, you got to play team defense. That's what we got to do. We got to play team defense. We got to be play together, play hard, be smart, and we'll work hard to do that.
Last two, Vince and then Gene.
When you self-evaluate, dig deeper, what do you think of the chemistry, administrative stuff with your coaching staff and executing the game?
Yeah, there was before the half there, we had an opportunity to score a touchdown. I think there's 3 minutes and 20 seconds maybe when we get the ball. The number one thing 2 minutes before the half is don't give it to the other team, right? We've got a 17-14 lead there. We got in field position, went to 2 minute there. I thought we got the ball in there, got 3 shots inside the 5-yard line and came away with a field goal there. Probably had an opportunity if we worked a certain side of the field to get a touchdown. Thought that was good. We had one substitution there on defense, and that was me. I can fix that, right? So, coaching staff done a good job, in my opinion, getting the guys as far as in-game adjustments and coaching the guys. But there's things that we can do we've obviously got to do better, right? So our guys will continue, they'll get better. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And we got a great opportunity this week.
Final question, Gene.
Coach, does this team have a leader?
Well, there's we have some good leaders on this team. Here's the thing about leadership. It's easy to be the leader after the game, It's easy to be the leader, in a meeting before practice. But when the bullets start flying and maybe things don't go your way, that's when you need good leadership. We have plenty of guys capable of doing that, right? So I believe we have good leaders on this team, and we have a lot of guys that are younger that they respond to the leadership. There's no secret to why we lost this game. Okay, I said it after the game. They done a better job coaching than we did. They executed better than we did. It's not because we lack leadership. It's not because we lack effort. It's because we lack execution. They executed better than we did. We turned the ball over 5 times and only got 1 turnover. So it's hard to beat anybody that way.
Thank you, Coach.